Let's break the mold, start believing, and stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Welcome to Wild on 7, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
And welcome back to Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast, as always, presented by Pilot Games. I'm Ryan Carter, and I have right next to me a very tan John King. Hey, where did you pick up that nice bronze you're sporting?
I went to Tampa I put on my golden bridesmaid's dress and finished second in the Frozen Four because I was a part of the Gopher team.
Maybe that's the issue. You forgot the chains. You forgot the swagger and the actual gold chains that possess the magic that is Minnesota sports, and you had a chance to bring them down to Tampa. You forgot them.
I was thinking big picture. I wanted Brock Faber to get to the Wild, and so that we
sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we did what we had
to
do. Although if
couldn't have been
if we win, I think he's probably on the same timeline. So I'm not sure.
The only thing he could have done is maybe cheer a little harder so that it didn't end in overtime.
Well, if we win, they fly back. They open the KK 3 a.m. He probably doesn't play against Chicago tonight. So, hey, you're welcome.
That actually is a good question. Do you think guys celebrate more in excitement or drown themselves more with excitement and celebration or in sorrow?
Well, it's a great question. I heard this. There was a college guy was complaining. He said, oh, great. If these guys win, I won't be able to get into Sally's for a week because they'll decide who gets in and who gets out. But then they lost, and someone circled back with them, and they said, it's going to be the same thing, man. They're still going to take over the bar for a week and drown their sorrows. And
well, that's what I was going to say.
Let these 5 girls in, not these 3, So, but, yeah, it was a tough one, man. I thought Minnesota was going to start happening.
Why didn't it?
Well, first of all, Quinnipiac's very good, and they beat us. And I know that that's not how Minnesotans usually talk, but they won the game. And I think we just tried to hang on. We had this great D-core. Brock Faber's a part of it. And we got the 2-goal lead, and we just kind of tried to hang on to the ledge until the end of the game. And we were unable to. I guess the simple way of putting it on Twitter, I'm sure someone would say, Quinnipiac played to win, and we played not to lose. I guess that's how they would break it down. I don't know if it's that simple. It's so hard to win. I mean,
how invested are you in this club?
I don't even know why. Like, I didn't go to the University of Minnesota. I went to Boston College. If BC plays Minnesota, I want Minnesota to win. It's almost like it's our – this is who we are as Minnesota, and if they lose, it means, we don't believe in who we are. So, I mean, it's pretty personal.
I think you still call the Wild, but just listening to you talk about this, you say we went into like a safe game. We were the
I
better
know.
team.
I think
we really liked our goaltender.
I think I'm a
it's
part
we,
of it.
We with the Gophers.
and I'm totally not a part of it at all.
We are gonna close down Sally's.
It was. I did have plans to, if they would have won, I was going to try to steal Brock Faber's glasses at the after-party celebration and just kind of have that as a keepsake, because nobody wears spectacles better than new Wild defenseman Brock Faber. It's really a power move to just go heavy.
Just own the nerd?
Yeah, just be like, if you look at that nerd emoji on your phone,
That's what I mean.
Yeah, he's got it dialed. He's like the Urkel of the blue line. I love it. And he was great in the tournament, even in that game we lost. As a matter of fact, I wish he was on the ice as the game they lost. The University of Minnesota men's hockey team lost that I attended and paid money on StubHub to buy tickets to and sit in the stands. The one they lost, that group of 23 young college athletes. I wish he was on the ice for the first 10 seconds of overtime with Ryan Johnson with some fabulous hair, Mr. Johnson. But we lost, and I guess we'll maybe go in 10 years again.
You know what else I take away from that is some people and their families they just have it. They're just blessed with greatness.
Like the Middlestads or which?
Yeah, them too. But Rod Brindamore.
Yeah, Skyler, the big boy.
Yeah, Brindamore's in the building. Hat on, trying to hide, but just his presence there alone is like enough to like. if I'm in the East, I don't want to play Carolina. Like there are just certain guys,
just so many abs,
certain families that just win. Like they just have it.
I bet I think his name's Skylar Brendamore. I bet he played in a weight vest in the national championship game just because his dad told him to. I did think that same thing, though, because Cooley was facing off against Brendamore. And I remember just thinking, even though it's the sun, somehow it's not just the sun. It's like you're playing against all of the Rod the Bod, Cup win in Carolina. You're all of it. So, we didn't get it done, but I don't know. It was a fun time.
What was the weather like on Saturday? I have a segue here. Was it rainy?
No, it was just awesome. I was at the pool. I golfed twice. I forced 2 golf rounds with people I know, but maybe not well enough to ask them to play golf. And I was by the pool. I had a drink called a lava flow, which I'm told is the same thing as a Miami Vice. It was just the best.
Just a good day.
It was great. Like guys playing Matchbox 20 on acoustic guitar by the pool. It was all set up for Minnesota, and we didn't get the job done, Carl.
I wasn't that far north of you. I was at the Masters where it did nothing but rain all day. And then it continued to rain further north in Minnesota as the Wild had to play their first game without Eriksson Ek.
Really quick, I know we're going to get into the Wild, but bucket list for so many people going to the Masters. If you have bad weather, did it ruin it?
Yes.
So really, it's it goes from a 10 to a 2.
Exactly.
Oh man, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Did you get any good weather?
No. So I was forcing it. I was able to get there Friday, trying to get there as soon as possible. Flights delayed, couldn't do it. I was supposed to connect in Atlanta. Canceled my flight from Atlanta to Augusta. Rented a car so I could drive there and guarantee I'd be there in 2 hours to maybe catch a couple hours of dry weather. Didn't happen. Moment I pull in, drizzle, rained basically until I left.
Oh, that sucks.
It was bad.
And it never rains at the Masters, right? I mean, how many times has that happened? I don't seem to ever remember, them finishing rounds in the Masters the day after and all that. Is that a pretty rare thing?
I'm not sure, but it seemed rare. Yeah. There wasn't a great policy for tickets, so it stinks if you buy your ticket on Saturday and the round is pushed back to Sunday like it was. Sorry, you better have a Sunday ticket.
Oh, really? So you don't? Oh, that's really.
It's not like you get to get in there on Sunday with your Saturday ticket.
I'm going to put my pimento cheese sandwich in the fridge. I'll be back tomorrow. No, you won't.
Yeah, right.
And man, that was something. I did like the hero villain. This sort of. So I'm in the Sky Club yesterday, coming back and watching the Masters in the Delta Sky Club is maybe it's perfect, right? And this guy just says out loud, "Well, I don't really care who wins. I'm just cheering for all the live guys." I just thought, who are you? What does that mean? That's interesting. Okay, yeah, go live guys.
Did the guy have a Hartman jersey on?
I don't know.
Does it look like he's just trying to get under everybody's skin, right?
I was like,
don't you think the sentiments around golf are that the live guys are the bad guys and the guys that stay?
They're the heel turns. But golf is unique because I think it's the one sport where nobody really begrudges people for trying to make more money. So it's very murky, right? I don't know that the guys that live 10 feet away from Brooks Koepka down in Jupiter, Florida, despise him now that he went to live or not. But it's for sure like wrestling. You got the live guys are the heel turn villains.
Yeah.
And then you got the PGA legacy history. John Rahm is the perfect example. What a great guy by all accounts, and Brooks is kind of unlikable but also a badass. It was perfect hero villain. I thought it played out pretty fun on Sunday.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Sorry it was raining for you.
I just think that golf and the PGA, which is what we get in the States quite a bit, is trying to control the narrative a little bit and have it be where the live tour are the bad guys.
Yeah, they're the sinners.
And I thought the broadcast for the Masters was pretty even down the line. I thought there were maybe times where they wouldn't show certain live guys, just not to give them the time of day.
Well, there was a couple things that were interesting because I was really watching this. So now Rahm wins, and they refer to him as a hero, and there's this, and I was trying to think about how they would have played it with Koepka. So what they would have done if Brooksy won is it would have been his 5th major, and he's joining this club of 12 guys. So they would have taken all that history, that PGA history, and basically put it on him and go. So you could see that they were like processing. Okay, Sevi Vias, it's Easter Sunday. The Spaniard,
Birthday.
Maria Alabazala, somebody's birthday. Like this is this is good and glowing. And then Brooks is over here spitting shoe on the second cut or whatever. Yeah, it was. They know what they're doing. They're spin masters. Is it raining on our Wild too? Are we worried? I mean, is it going to go from a 10 to a 2 here? What's the level of Rat did say we can check in with them. So
we're going to have to check in with Rat for sure to see where the fans are at in this, because the Wild now, they hit the skids a little bit. They lose in Pittsburgh, and not only do they lose Eriksson Ek, and they have a closed door meeting and say, hey, listen, let's figure this out. We're a good team. You don't want to, be honest on the slide going into the playoffs. You can't just flip a switch and be good again. And but I do think that a lot of wind was taken out of their sail. And this is the debate. So post-game Pittsburgh, you have what is your team's best player. Does that person always have to be your most valuable player? And
no.
In this regard, I don't think it is.
Well, are you going to say, because I think you could argue that Eck is the most valuable player on the Wild.
It's all of a sudden now you were without your star, your best player, Kirill Kaprizov. But now what will it look like without your most valuable player? And it is different. And the reason Ecker's more valuable is because of all of the things that he touches. It's the penalty kill, the power play, net front, agitating, hard to play against, puck retrievals, all of the things that the Wild do and do well. Boldy's line.
Yeah, don't underestimate. I know that we got frick and frack with Jobo, but yeah, Eck's been a huge part of that line.
Huge part. And I've been trying to say that on broadcast all of a sudden too. It's like, hey, these guys are able to pass the puck, and there's seams and there's all kinds of room out there because Eriksson Ek has got his nose in the snot bubble. He's taken D there. There's layers behind him, and these guys finally have the skill to get it. Now, all of a sudden, the Wild are in a situation where we had this great they've been chasing this, like a great 1-2 punch going into the playoffs, and they lose Eriksson Ek. Now, can you backfill it? And it's going to take, and this is the old cliche, I don't think you can backfill your most valuable player with one dude. So it's not going to be Gaudreau's going to come up, he's going to play between those guys, and then he's going to do everything that Eriksson Ek does. That's not it. It's going to have to be by committee. But that's where I'm interested to see what the fans think. It doesn't mean that it's like dire, but those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, it's not good. And speaking of shoes, we don't know exactly what happened. Sounds like a puck off of the foot, right? And
it was.
Do we know time?
We were watching I was watching the broadcast. I'm sure they covered it enough too. But on your skates, if you think about where your boot turns,
yep.
So it comes up over your ankle, like right over that bone, and then your shin pad starts to come down, and it curves around to get in front of your tongue. There's like a little spot.
Oh, so it was front of the.
No, it was on the side.
Okay.
So right above where your boot turns. So if you're wearing a high top shoe, right where that high top turns, is about roughly where that puck hit, somewhere in there it looked like. And whether it's a bruise, bone bruise, something worse, don't know. That's clear speculation, total speculation. But I've had one there from Ryan Whitney. And
really?
Yeah. Whit in practice, slapper, same exact. It was identical to what happened in
and what was your
play.
Timeline?
Power play up top. Your job's to hold the front there. You stay in the lane, catches you in the foot right there. Boom, you're done. I had to play like a week on it because it didn't get picked up at the X-ray machine in Columbus. I was walking around and I couldn't walk. I couldn't skate.
How were you that week when you were playing? Were you worthless?
Oh yeah, terrible.
Okay. And then how long did it end up taking before you felt like yourself?
I don't remember the recovery on it or how long it was.
We need a timeline here.
I know. Go back in time and look.
Because if you think of Kirill's timeline, right, the mysterious lower body, hamstring, groin, whatever was wrong with 97, they told us from the moment it happened, 3 to 4 weeks. And with Ecker, we're hearing week to week, which is a little ominous. Is there any norm on a stress fracture or whatever we call it with a shot?
Well, I have no idea. I suppose it's up to each individual person. The thing with Kirill's injury too, and if we're going to go down the injury wormhole, doctors are comfortable clearing people if they can handle pain.
Yeah.
If there isn't the risk for further injury. So you theoretically could be like back at that time when I was with Anaheim, if I have a fracture and they're like, you're not going to hurt it anymore, man. If you can just deal with the pain.
If you're related to like the Brenda Morris,
Yes.
and you're like, yeah, well, your arm has been completely cut off, and he's like, I'm good.
I
can hold the rectangle trophy with one arm.
Yeah, maybe then it's
But
shorter.
is this injury not the same way because it can do more damage?
I have no idea.
Well, we're being very helpful to the listeners.
Yeah. But so let's get back to each spot real quick and just talk about who could potentially fill that. So Gaudreau's going to fill that second line spot.
Second line Gaudreau.
That's what it looks like. And they're trying different things. I don't know if Nyquist can play the middle. That would intrigue me a little bit if he could. I don't know what that looks like. So, but Gaudreau's going to slide into that spot, I think, and play with those guys. They're going to get another look at that tonight against Chicago.
Will that be Bojo Go? Gojo Bo?
Night Gojo?
Well, isn't it Gaudreau playing with him?
Yeah.
Gojo Bo Gojo? That's just a reason to do it right there.
No,
that's probably what he
worth a
did.
try.
So what are the other spots that the
So Acker, net front power play. Think about how good Acker is net front power play.
Do we put Revo there?
Maybe, but is Revo as good?
I was kind of joking, but he's actually the only person besides Eck I've seen just camp out there and just
he does camp out, and he is good, and he understands what he has to do. But a lot of it actually is puck retrievals, second chance opportunities, and making sure that it's timing. It's kind of and Eck has he went from okay to good to potentially great at net front power play, in my opinion, and it comes down to when you're turning, reading where the shots are coming from, how to pick up a loose puck, how to get the retrievals, when to get the retrievals that miss the net around the sides out to your flanks to keep it going, and doing all these things. Those are little nuance details of being able to play net front. Moving screen, when to stand on, and your screen is a matter of movement, 6 inches. It's not like whatever, it's right time, 6-inch move, so the goalie has to move his head from the right side of the body to the left side of the body, and that's the difference. And knowing where your guy likes to shoot it, how to jump on a rebound, where your outs are on that rebound. The guys that are shooting.
Giving me a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, but there's certainly guys that can fill it, but Ecker does all of those things without saying a word, right? And he's good. So who's going to fill that role? It's different. I actually think Boldy would be great net front. He'd be great. Problem is, a lot of times you have such really good players that he's good on the flank. He'd be good net front. He'd be good a bunch of different spots.
See, this is what we're looking for, solutions. I like this hot take.
Yeah.
Coach Dean, I know you're listening. Try Matt Boldy net front presence on the power play.
So that one is, I'll be intrigued. I think Gaudreau isn't as big.
No.
But he still is smart. I think he'll be able to figure that out. Marcus, they've tried net front on the power play before too, so he's got some experience there. That should be good.
Then what about the big Swedes?
So let's go back to Kill now. He kills.
I know.
So he's your big face-off guy in the Kill, and I think that one's going to be a little bit easier to backfill. But the Kill was good for a long time, and it was running with Shaw, Eriksson, Ek, and now you don't have those guys. Luckily for the Wild, they're getting healthy, and they have bodies that can do it. Like Nyquist is going to be able to kill. They're going to be able to slide some people in there and make it happen. But the loss of Eriksson Ek is a big one.
What about Nyquist? I don't know a lot about him. He I think he's number 28 based on what I watched on NHL since I was in Tampa. But is he a 5-tool guy that can do a lot of the Ek things or not?
Well, he's different. He's entirely different. I think if we're looking at Nyquist, he's in terms of their career and age, almost everything, pretty similar, if not identical, to Johansson.
Okay.
The difference is their style a little bit. It's like a beautiful figure skater when Johansson's out there. It's smooth. The passes are flat. It looks really fluid and it's efficient. And I think that's kind of the way he plays. And that's not me calling him soft at all. Like, he's strong. He wins battles. He does all that stuff. But it's just fluid. Mm-hmm. Where I think Nyquist is a little bit more power skating. Close your eyes. You're going to hear it. You're going to notice that there's a difference. It might look a little choppier. In the end, they get the same job done pretty efficiently in the same way. It just looks a little bit different. So I'm intrigued where he'll slide in, but I do think that he's more of a Swiss Army knife. So he can fit in a lot of different spots. And the final 3 games of the regular season, that's going to be what Dean Evason's going to try to do. And he played 11 and a half minutes in the St. Louis game. It's get him back up to playing shape and battling. Let's put him on the left wing, see what he does. Let's put him on the right wing, see what he does. Let's put him with these guys, the top line, the second line, whatever it is, and let's see what he gives us, because a lot of that's kind of unknown what he can do here. But his body of work is a skilled player that competes and works hard. He's got a little grind to him.
I think I can accurately represent the Minnesota fan base, and I think what we're going to do, because this is how we are, is we're just going to expect Nyquist to just somehow fill the Eck hole, even though it makes no sense that they're not exactly the same. Like, just because he's new, it's going to be like, well,
here you go.
Look what Krill was out, and look at all these guys did this, and now this is the new guy. He left, so we just need Nyquist to be outstanding. Should we check in with our if people that are new to the pod? Beer league hockey player named Rat. He, I would say, 2 years ago was just really bullish on the Wild, and this is what we do. We're going to win the cup. This was 21-22. We've checked in with him a little bit, 22-23 current season, but we're right in the witching hour here. 3 games left, got 100 points. Playoffs are about a week away. Should we see how he's feeling? Maybe think of a couple questions, Carts, like the big macro things, the goaltender. Let's just get a mood of the nation.
Let's get Rat on.
This is a straight.
He
from the
is
horse's
Minnesota
mouth.
sports fan. He was hurt. You could text him after a 3-game skid, and he's going to say, "I'm entirely off this wagon. This team is done. Our goose is cooked." Then you can win a couple of games, and he'll be right back on.
Yeah,
he's up and down. So it's important to check in with him every once in a while.
How are you, buddy?
Doing well. How's it going in there?
Well, I'd say Karts has given me a lot of anxiety because he just explained that losing Eriksson Ek for an unknown period of time is like if you were making a movie, Rat, and you had Will Ferrell playing the lead, and then he couldn't be in the movie anymore, and you're trying to get other guys to be in the movie because apparently Eriksson Ek, he may not be our best player, but he might be our most valuable player. So we just want to know, what's the mood of the nation for Senor Rat? A week out, X down, Kirill's back. Are we going to be okay? How are you feeling looking ahead to the playoffs?
Pretty optimistic right now. I knew that Eriksson Ek got hurt. I didn't know how bad. Looks like he took a shot. But with the new guys, you got to figure out where they're going to fall. I think and there's not much time to figure it out, but I'm optimistic, and I hope we stay. The 1, 2, 3 stays where it is right now, and we play Dallas. So
why do you want Dallas, Rat?
Have some time to figure it out, I just feel Dallas, we have a better chance against them. I just do.
Okay. Karts, what do you got?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I'm just curious, Rat, the Wild, they went on a run without Kaprizov, and you think that's an experience that this club is going to lean on without Eriksson Ek, and do you think it's possible they go on a run and make their way through Dallas without Eriksson Ek?
Last year, I thought that Eriksson Ek was, I think we talked about this, our best player in the playoffs. Most important, the guy in front of the net, controlling the power play and all that. But now that we got these other pieces in place, if we can figure it out real quick, I think we're going to be all right because we got some more scoring. Kirill's back, a couple more games, he'll be ready to go. And I just feel like this could be our year, I just do.
So, Rat, as the Wild have their final 3 games, should they chase and sell out for first place and trying to play a wild card team, or you think you're comfortable wherever the Wild finish this season, and if it happens to be Dallas, that's a good matchup?
Yes, I don't think we should. If anyone's dinged up, we should rest them up. I don't think it's probably going to happen that we're going to take. We're down by 4 points, so I think we just say we're in 2 or 3, and we're going to play Dallas, and let's get ready to go.
Well, you'll be happy to know Kirill and Zuki are passing the puck back and forth on the ice here in St. Paul, so they're not even going to Chicago. So I think we might be getting some load management. Hey, final thought, goaltender. What are you doing if you're Coach Dean starting the playoffs?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, but I think after last year, I think we go with Gustafson to start it, and then if something happens, we can put put the Flower in. I don't think we should go the same route as last year, putting the Flower in and then bringing in the other guy. It didn't work out, so I'm thinking the other way around this year.
Well, hey man,
give us a how's he feeling? A scale of 1 to 10 going into it. He's pretty optimistic. Is it yellow light, green light? Maybe we'll do this on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Like, where are you feeling in terms of?
Yeah, like a 7 right now, just because we're in a little slump. But that could go to a 9 in one game if I see some excitement out of the main guys.
Well, we love it, man. You kind of helped me back from the abyss.
We're
back. I mean, I was trying to find people that looked like Will Ferrell to stand in front of the net on a power play. I thought we had a hole we couldn't fill, but the new guys, we'll scramble some eggs. We'll see what happens. Yep. Thanks, Rat. We'll check in with you when the playoffs get going. Peace. Bye.
Is there a bigger endorsement for the podcast than Rat's mentality right now?
He actually said what we thought. Like, well, we got the new guys. They'll just start doing Erickson X stuff. It's like, it'd be like if you were a band and dude,
and they will.
Like Slash broke his hand and you're like, well, my brother plays guitar. Yeah, I don't know.
We have to take a second to talk about the Wild without Kirill, though. If you remember going into that stretch where he got hurt, he had scored like 47% of the Wild goals over the previous 10 games, and the Wild had gone like 9-0-1 during that stretch. And it was, all right, well, without Kaprizov and him physically being the one that's scoring these goals, the Wild are going to get shut out every other night. And that wasn't the case. All of a sudden, they start scoring 3, 4, 5 goals a night, and they continue to win games. So it's one of those scenarios where, and I do think that happened when Kirill went down. That it was like a polarizing moment, and everybody felt that they had to be a little bit better, and everybody was a little bit better,
including the fan base, who just right away were like, "This is going to be good. Give the guys a chance to work on
to all get better." Yeah. And it worked. But it worked.
I know it did work. And what was interesting to me, so I'm a big Kirill guy, too much so sometimes, but they played the same night as I played in the national championship game down in Tampa. But I watched the 5-minute recap on the NHL app. I didn't see 97 in the entire thing. You never see him. He's not in it, right? And so I did ask them when I said, "Hey, how did he look?" They said, "Look great. Flying around, looked like himself." Is that true? Is that what he looked like?
Yeah, I think it was good. If I'm thinking about that whole situation, it's less Kirill individually, more Zuccarello and Kirill. So to finish the thought that Rat had and that John had touched on, we're recording this Monday afternoon, and the Wild play Chicago tonight, and we get here to see guys skating on the ice. So the Wild are going to rest some of their guys down the stretch. They're not chasing, and it's not that they're not chasing it. I think they would still love first place, but they're not selling out for it.
No.
So they're prioritizing health. So Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Jared Spurgeon, Jonas Brodin are back in Minnesota for this game and resting, so to speak, or making sure that they get an extra day off. And if there's any bumps, bruises, energy, whatever the reason, load management, as they like to call it in basketball, that's the strategy being deployed. And whether I don't know how that plays out, but at the same time, it's going to give opportunity to some of these other guys. And going back to Kirill and him being out, I think some of these guys that were on the outside looking in saw a chance to be good and to get minutes in big spots, and then they took off and ran with it. Guys like Sam Steele, Brandon Duhaime, Ryan Reeves even to a degree, and Johansson, yeah.
And obviously Boldy, but that was a little different. He
now that
he feels a lot better with $49 million in his pocket. he looked in the mirror and was like, "Hey, I'm a superstar,"
And I think that's what I think.
and then he was.
Yeah.
We do got to get someone to pay us $49 million.
The depth of the Wild now is paying dividends because there's still competition for those minutes, and that's a big reason why the club and the offense found itself during the Kirill injury, and I think it's a big reason that they'll be okay buying themselves some time until Eriksson gets healthy.
Well, and I don't think you can underestimate the intangibles too, right? So on one hand, you got a back-to-back against Chicago and Winnipeg, so you've got a player coming back from injury, Kaprizov. You want to be smart about that, but also like joy management. These guys they were like, it looked like two squirt A players doing.
That's what I mean.
Doing between the leg shots. It's just the two of them out on the ice. Kirill scores between his legs. He's selling to a completely empty Tree Arena because you can't get in here right now. And I mean, I'm betting some prize picks on Kaprizov and Zuccarello tomorrow against Winnipeg.
The next game,
because I think
Zuki was
it's
struggling,
making them feel happy. Like Zuki was like the one guy when we went on this this reunion tour without 97. He put some points in, but he definitely was feeling the losing his partner there. And I mean, they look like two bugs in a rug. Is that a phrase on the ice here? So yeah, bet on 97 and 36 to do something against Winnipeg.
Well, I kind of think that this is the staff trying to get those two back to peak performance and chemistry as fast as possible. Zuccarello just a week ago was talking about how, yeah, I'm going through a spell where I don't have confidence, and you can have played 10, 12 years in the NHL and all of these games and scored all these points, but you're not immune to having to go through tough times and where you're not feeling the puck well and things aren't great. So,
those two probably left the ice. They're probably go-kart riding somewhere right now, or like laser tag.
Right.
They're going to get a meal. They're probably having lunch together.
Right.
Dinner together. Maybe they'll come back and use those sauna hats.
Yeah, you heard
it's going to be the best day ever.
You heard Everson say that Kaprizov was actually beating his door down to try to get into a game and say, "Let me play," and it was probably just let me sit next to Zuccarello.
Now he's got senior skip day. Yeah. They probably left him a car. Hey, if you take a look, I know you're Russian, but there's an Italian red car, and if you and Zuki want to have it, it's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off for those two today. So, yeah, I think there'll be smiles on the faces of that tandem, and hopefully this other group that we're sending with scrambling the eggs, as Rat was kind of pointing out, hopefully some of these holes start filling up. This Eriksson Ek big boot to fill, as the case may be. I sure hope so.
Popular segue for me here, and it's maybe never been more true than it is right now with Eriksson Ek being out. The Wild are under construction. Bill Guerin, Dean Evison, these guys, they're trying to build a team that can not only make it to the playoffs, but win in the playoffs. And if, we're thinking long-term, solid foundation, you've got a nice house, you want to protect that house with a good roof to make sure that when those storms come around and there's turbulence, that you've got what it takes to withstand that. And we are entering roofing season. There were storms last year, hailstorms throughout the Twin Cities, specifically the East Metro where I live. And if you were in that area or think you were, you've got to check out wildconstructionmn.com. They've got a nice little tool on their website, a map. You go put in your address. It'll tell you if there were storms, when it was, who to call, how to check it out. You can even get a free estimate from these guys. They'll have somebody come out, take a look, help you through the whole process. If you don't and you prefer to have a house or a roof that might fail in critical moments, skip checking these guys out. But if you're not one of those people and want to be in the big moments, you want to be around Brindamore. Rod Brindamore probably has wildconstructionmn.com on his read often list. Make sure you give him a good look.
Don't bring Brindamore into this. So I bet today maybe Zuki and Kirill, they'll grill out maybe. It's super nice out.
It is
maybe
nice.
Go over to, I don't know if he still lives over by U.S. Bank or whatever, but maybe they have a small Weber on like his balcony, because I don't think they want to go to Zuki's house because they got the baby, right? And you get sucked into that whole deal. So they're probably at Kirill's spot, grilling up some burgers. And what they're not going to do is they're not going to sleep on the slaw. They're going to have coleslaw.
They're not going to sleep on the slaw?
They're not going to sleep on the slaw. They're going to give slaw a place at the table. They're going to pick either original, pineapple, or fat-free. I don't know if they need to do fat-free. Probably not pineapple, I would guess. They're going to pick up some Jimmy's coleslaw. And I can beat you on this. I know they got the tool, the roofing tool on your website, but Jimmy's Dressings actually has a coleslaw calculator on their website. So if Zuki and Kirill decided to have like Mason Shaw and some of these other guys over, they could figure out based on how many people are coming over how much coleslaw they need for the group. It sounds like a wonderful day all around. So check out Jimmy's Salad Dressings and Dips. You can find them at Cub, Minnesota Company. Don't you be messing with my dressing. Those are damn good reads. I think it's a part of the content. It's editorial at this point. It's
Right.
not an ad break. It's why you're here.
Again, so speaking of dips, our guest this week is John Klingberg.
True.
And he
One of the Swedish fish.
one of the Swedish House Mafia fish.
Yep.
Too,
This is
'cause
now
he's into music.
He is into music, and we recorded this kind of right when he came. So
Right.
just for the listeners to know, he is a beatboxer, which is, I think, one of the things I did not know about.
But he also likes to chew, so it's hard to be a beatboxer and
It's
chew at the same
hard
time,
to
apparently.
beatbox when you have a little dirt in your lip, or whatever it was. A zin. We'll probably need some new sponsors.
Well, we do
on it.
have to say this is a somewhat of an abbreviated interview because on the day that we had Klingberg in, Zuccarello agreed to jump on the podcast too, and well, Zuccarello he wanted to flex. Let's just say we put a sign on the door when we're recording, and Zuccarello ripped the sign off the door, came in anyways, and then the interview with Klingberg ended abruptly.
My favorite part of it was you were a pro, so Klingberg's in the middle. You're conducting the interview normally because like you're not going to be pushed around, right? You know, whatever. All I can feel is these Norwegian laser beams coming from the corner here in the dark. Like I just had this. I never looked
Couldn't make
over at
eye
him.
contact.
I never looked over at him, but I think he was even doing this, like wrap it up.
He
or,
was.
like pointing at
Standing
his
up.
watch. Like, yeah, he stood up and was so I think you can tell at the end of this
Yeah,
interview. I basically just am like,
Crapped his
and
pants.
thanks, hey man, great. I'm glad you're on the
crapped
team,
your
but why don't you come in here, Mats, and we'll get started. Yeah, I basically pushed the eject button on
Right.
Klingberg, but. So credit to you for being a little better. But this is sponsored by Duke Cannon. They do all of our interviews. If you care about your hair, wish it was a weapon, check out dukecannon.com, CANNON.com, or find them at Target. This is John Walk the Line Klingberg, one of the Swedish fish.
All right. Well, with us now, we have the newest member of the Minnesota Wild and probably the newest member of the Swedish House Mafia here in Minnesota, John Klingberg. John, thanks for joining us, my man. How are you doing?
I'm great. Just had a practice. Felt pretty good out there. So we're heading on the road here. So no, it's great.
You've been here what, maybe a week now? Is this? And it might actually be the first practice. I don't like the Wild. They really don't practice much, so I don't know if that's your style or not. But
Yeah, I rather prefer that actually. I come from Anaheim, and
yeah.
we weren't very good, so we practice all the time.
Speaking of that, let's go. How was it? Like, so you spent the first 8 years of your career in Dallas. This is in now first year in Anaheim. The deadline comes around. Did you know that you were going to maybe be dealt, and what was the feeling there?
Yeah, I had an idea I was going to be dealt. That was the whole plan with signing 1 year as well. We had that in the back pocket, and we were working with Pat Verbeek, the GM in Anaheim as well. So that was kind of the plan all along if things wouldn't work out in Anaheim with the team and individually. So I had a plan all along, and I was going to get traded, and kind of had an idea 3 days before the deadline leading up that Minnesota was on the board with a few other teams. And of those teams, I had Minnesota on my 10-team list that I could be traded to. So it feels good to be Wild. Obviously, seen this team a lot throughout the years. So great to be on the other side in Excel.
Fun. So the deadline, that's kind of nice to know a little bit where you're going. I've been traded before, and it's just for me, it was just, oh, sorry, we no longer want you. See you later. But so it must have been good. But did you enjoy your time in Anaheim?
Yeah, I did. Obviously, the team struggled a little bit. I struggled to start the year, I think. Around Christmas, it was a little bit of a mental reset for me. You kind of come in there. It's a 1 year deal. Free agent didn't go as planned. It's a lot on the board that you want to do well, playing your game and win games. But as the player I am, maybe sometimes you're trying to do too much, and I think I got punished for that to start the year. But like I said, Christmas break came pretty good for me mentally. I kind of just look all overall on my game, what I can do better, and stuff like that. And I think after that, more focus on just trying to feel good and play good, and eventually everything is going to take care of itself. And obviously, leading up to the deadline, I want to show the teams that I had on my list that I also put that they can be counted on.
Nice. So let's get to know him a little bit. Should we do rapid fire?
Let's warm you up here. So this is going to be quick questions. Just need quick answers, and we'll kind of go every 2 questions back and forth. So you'll be looking both ways like a offensive defenseman can. Nickname.
Klinger.
Weirdest thing in your overnight bag.
Pillow.
Wow. Who do you text the most?
Eriksson Ek.
How about pet peeves? Do you have any?
No, not really. No.
What do you listen to in the car?
Oprah.
Oprah?
No. I'm listening to almost everything. Really, just whatever's on the radio.
It's your birthday. Where are you going to dinner?
Nobu.
First real job.
Hockey player.
Now this one I love. Do you have your own Netflix accounts or do you share them with anybody?
No, I have my own.
Okay.
Well, me and my wife, but
Okay.
it's my own.
All grown up. If you could have a green light, you get to go out in any NHL city. Where would it be?
New York.
Hockey jersey you had as a kid.
Frölunda Indians.
For Lunda Indians?
Yeah, hometown team.
All right. Like what other profession aside from hockey would you do?
What's that?
What other profession? Like if you weren't a hockey player, what would you do?
Play golf.
What's your Starbucks order?
Cafe latte.
Pre-game meal.
Spaghetti.
Go-to drink at the bar.
Beer.
Beer. Nice. Go ahead. Keep rolling.
Perfect weekend. What are you doing?
Playing golf.
Hidden talent.
Beatbox.
Oh,
We gotta get
I'm
this.
so happy about this. Thank you. Gift card from any store. You get a gift card from a store. Where do you want it from?
PGA Superstore.
I can't stop thinking about beatbox. You got any more?
No, I'm good.
Buying clothes. Where do you go?
Neiman Marcus.
Last thing you binge watched.
Golf on YouTube.
Did you watch Full Swing, that documentary
Yeah,
on Netflix?
yes, I did.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
And who plays you in the movie?
Jonas Berdeen.
That's a nice answer. So, hey, when you had your list of teams you would go to, and did you have any idea you were going to basically be playing for the Swedish national team here in Minnesota? And what is this like? You just text threads with all Swedes doing Swedish things?
Yeah, it was actually funny because I knew Minnesota, like I said, a few days before. I knew they were interested in Minnesota, and a few other teams were probably the front runners. And then you see Nyquist, Johansson, and Sundqvist all coming there. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So no, it's obviously fun, but even before that, Zuccarello was traded to Dallas when I played there. Got to know him really good. He's basically Swedish.
Is he an honorary Swede? We were trying to figure this out. If he's the 8th Swede.
Yeah, he's half and half. I'd say he
Okay.
speaks pretty good Swedish, but Norwegian and Swedish are pretty similar. And then Goligoski was my first D partner coming up in Dallas. So Dumps I knew a little bit from before as well. So it's great, obviously, to come to a new team and you know so many
Right.
faces from before.
Right. No, so that's funny. Goligoski's your partner in Dallas. How was that playing with Golly?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I feel like this is in my 9th year now, and playing with Goose, I never had as much puck as we did. We were just breaking out the puck together all the time, and he's such a smart player. Obviously, he's aged a little bit now, but I feel like he's aged really good. I mean, he barely missed a game. He's never injured. He's so smart on the ice, playing both with the puck and without the puck. He's on the right spot every time. So he's like a dream partner.
And then, so let's talk about Mats for a second, because Zuccarello was in Dallas just for a short while. You touched on what was he like there? Like, did he have enough time to come in and take over a locker room?
Oh yeah, he's such an easygoing guy. I mean, and outgoing too, funny guy, easy to like. So no, he came in right away and just he actually got injured the first game, but I think he scored 2 or 3 points in 1.5 period in his first game, and then then he got injured. I think he broke his arm or something. Came back to the playoffs, but I mean, just being away from the guys when you're injured and still get to know everyone that good, it speaks for itself how good of a guy he is.
You know, you eliminated the Wild back in the day in the playoffs. So I'm curious what your perception was on the outside looking in at the Wild, even this year, when you know you're going to be traded and you're trying to see what teams are doing, and what was your perception of the team, and then what's it feel like now that you're in the room?
Yeah, obviously playing in the same division, coming to Excel, it's always a sold out arena. The crowd is really into it, which is creating a lot of energy for the players and a great atmosphere. And I'd say obviously they kind of had a little bit of a rebuild. I wouldn't say it was a rebuild, but obviously they made some changes. And to add players like Kaprizov, Zuccarello, and then you have a guy like Baldy from the organization as well. That's going to help your organization. And I think I've said it before in media here too that I think they come a long ways in a short period of time. And I mean, it speaks for itself. What are we like 2 points out of the first place right now in the West? So it feels good to be Wild for sure.
Are you going to get to golf? I think you go San Jose, Arizona, maybe a little buffer day. Are you going to get to swing the clubs?
Maybe we'll see.
Are you a
Hopefully.
good golfer, or you just love golf?
Average, I say. I talked to Nyquist and Johansson, and they say they're +2 handicappers, and I'm not really there. So, yeah, they're probably there. I heard there's a lot of good golf for this team, so it should be a fun time on the course if we get to play.
Well, those are the guys you want to play against, though. +2s, you get a couple of strokes. It's not bad.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that you get a couple of strokes and maybe you have a good round and you beat them.
Yeah. And then 1-0.
How did this beatboxing thing happen?
No, I'm not. Well, I'm not gonna beatbox.
We'll see.
I got fake teeth in too, so
We'll
I can't really
see.
do it right
Do they
now.
come out?
No, they don't. They're glued together.
I would
But
never say never. I mean, if you get more comfortable.
and I got a chew in right now, so I can't do it.
You hide your chew well. Where do
Yeah.
you upper what?
Yeah, upper here.
Well, it's the Swedish stuff.
What do
Yeah.
you?
Right? Isn't it super
Yeah, it's
fine?
the Swedish stuff.
That's
Yeah.
like that's.
I have a big hole here, so I can hide it pretty good.
I did that Siberia. That'll make you feel like your head's popping
Yeah,
off. It's
That's
like
a good one to
you're-
take after the games.
It's crazy, crazy. Hey, what personalities in the room? You know, as you've been in the Dallas room for a long time. You were in Anaheim. What do you make of how it feels in Minnesota on the inside as a member of the team?
Yeah, like I said, as a new guy, you're coming in, you're trying to find your place a little bit. Obviously, knowing a lot of guys before helps a lot, but since day one, I feel like everyone welcomed me right away. And I mean, I think a guy like Moose seems like he's a really funny guy. Obviously, Revo likes to talk to. So.
Sure.
And a guy like Flower obviously is really nice too. And I feel like a lot of the young guys are really comfortable and outgoing as well, which is a good thing, I think. So yeah, it's a well-oiled team. I think there's a lot of within the game, there's a lot of structure, but even outside the game, if you're just in the locker room, I feel like it's a really good group of guys.
Let's take a second to talk about Kaprizov because you played with Robertson in Dallas, and they came into the league. They're both up for the Calder Trophy together. They've both had terrific starts to their career. So there's and they're in the same division. I feel like there's going to be a comparison. It's like
it's like the
it's
rivalry.
like the central version of Sid Novi right
Yeah.
now. You know, two kids playing against each other, similar paths, like straight to stardom. Do you see any similarities in their games, or notice any differences?
You know, I'd say they're probably completely different players a little bit. Robertson he could be really quiet within a game, and all of a sudden you see on the score sheet he's got 2 or 3 points. I feel like the best thing with his game is he's always kind of in the right spot to create something offensively, and with Kaprizov, I think he's probably more of an engine, I say. He drives the plays. He's creating from nothing. I mean, Robertson do that as well, but I think Kaprizov is a little bit more explosive, better skater, and can create a little bit from out of nowhere. So there's some similarities, but I think they're
different players.
different players, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, but the productions are similar for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's go back to your career because it's interesting. 5th-round pick. Like, when did you know you were a player? What was that? So you're playing in Sweden, and you get drafted. Like, what does that mean? There is that a big deal? Like,
Yeah. So obviously, as a kid, I always been a really good skater. And then when you start your career in Frölunda, where I'm from, like the academy there, when they bring in all the best players, it kind of was a little bit of a wake up call for me. I wasn't the best anymore. Like, you had to really work hard, and I think that kind of changed my game a little bit too. A lot of people grew faster than me, so I was always this skinny, small guy. I'm still skinny, but I'm pretty tall now. But I had to find different ways within the game to win battles and stuff like that. And I think that's something that I can take advantage of today. So yeah, I was talking to the only team I was talking to ahead of the draft was Dallas. I didn't expect myself to be drafted that year, and they ended up picking me in the 5th round. And kind of after that, it was kind of just taking off for me. I got the chance to play with the senior team in Frölunda there in the SHL, and then it kind of took off. I took a quick route to Finland, played for Jokerit, came back to Skellefteå in the Swedish league, played 1.5 years there, and ended up winning the cup there in the Swedish league with Sundqvist actually. And after that, I went back to Frölunda for 1 year, and then I came over to Dallas. So I kind of did all my like development, kind of minor league time. I probably did that back in Sweden as a development, and then yeah, as I came over, I always wanted to. When I felt like if I'm going over to the States and to the NHL and play, I want to feel like I'm actually ready to play in the NHL right away. So I think that was a smart move by me to stay back home in Sweden for an extra 2-3 years. And I was also injured. I had my hip surgery at the time back then, so I wanted to have a real good year in Sweden before I felt ready to come over and actually compete. So that was probably a smart move.
well, Minnesotans like their 5th-round picks here. Kaprizov was also a 5th-round pick, so that's kind of fun. You won a gold medal. Was it the World Juniors and World Championships?
Couple World Championships.
Yeah, because that's a bigger deal, I think, over in Europe to win the World Junior, the World Championships, than it is in the States, right? Like,
Well, yeah, obviously World Juniors, we all know how big that is in Canada. I play with Broads. We ended up winning together World Juniors in Calgary.
Who else was on that team when you won it?
It was me, Broads, Clefbaum was there, Johan Larsson. He was drafted by Wild, I think. He's back home in Sweden playing now. Johan Gustafsson was also a Wild prospect, I think, a goalie. We didn't have a lot of superstars in that team, but a lot of guys that have played together throughout the junior time in the national team, and they were really good in the under 18 and stuff like that too. So a well-oiled team there too, and not like a superstar or like stuff like that. But we ended up winning, and then won 2 World Championship 2 years in a row as well, and that's obviously something that's really huge as a Swede to win that compared to probably what it is in Canada and the US.
I think in one of those tournaments you were the best defenseman in the tournament. So did you get like a nice TSO watch or something over there for that one?
No, that was for the player of the game.
I think TSO was player of the game.
Yeah, I think I got like some. I don't remember. It's something. I don't know. It's in the wardrobe back home somewhere.
Yeah. So that's actually a good question. Where do you keep the medals? I love this.
I have it in a moving box back home in Sweden right now.
It's packed away somewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, what was Zegras like in Anaheim? I'm just curious about. Seems like a big personality.
I feel like everyone in the team already asked me that question. I wonder why. No, he's a great kid. He's a real funny kid. What you see from the outside in media is him obviously on the ice doing a lot of crazy stuff, skilled wise, but he can also be very aggressive verbally. But great kid. I think he's gonna learn more and more throughout these years, but just a great kid. Loves the game and works really hard.
So do Now, getting back to you a little bit, you collect. Are you a car guy?
No,
You're not a car guy.
no, not really. I kind of was a little bit when you start making money. You wanted to have a cool car, but no. Now I got family, so I drive an SUV.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about the family. You have 2 kids?
2 daughters.
2 daughters. So you're one of the dudes. It's an acronym. We've talked about this on the podcast. Dad of only daughters. How is it? How old are they?
My oldest one just turned 2, the 7th, and my younger one is almost 6 months.
So they were in Anaheim with you.
Yes.
Are they going to come to Minnesota?
We'll see. They're gonna go back to Sweden now to start, and we'll see if it's gonna work out later on. But for now, it's gonna be a lot easier for both of us.
Yeah, it's life is with a deadline deal. It's just hard to move everybody on the drop of
Yes.
a dime. So, was your wife? Did she have to stay in Anaheim and kind of pack everything up and get the kids ready to go?
Yeah, we were lucky though. Her dad has been there for a little bit too, helping out. He's retired, so that's obviously been huge for us that he's been there helping out. But leading up to the deadline day, we kind of knew we were gonna get dealt, so I was ready with my bags, anyways.
You said you text Eriksson Ek the most. Did you know each other from teams in the past, or how's that relationship from prior?
I didn't really know him that good before. I think why I've been texting him the most is because I need
Information.
information and I need
He's your
I need someone to drive me around.
He's your wild
because
concierge.
Zuccarello won't pick up his phone when I call him.
I thought Zuccarello's he's half Swedish, right? So he should take care of you too.
I was down.
Well, yeah, especially since we played together before, but I don't know. He might be busy with
He's got a
his
baby.
family.
He's got
Yeah.
a baby.
He's busy. I was downstairs after the last game, and there was like a bunch of pastries down there from like a Swedish bakery, must be in Anoka or something. But they included Matt's on the list of all the sweets.
Yeah, you know what? I think actually Norway might do the same thing. Fettisdagen, I think it's called.
Fettisdagen?
Yeah.
I don't know what it
It's
was.
basically like the fat day. if you
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, so I actually don't really like that pastry. It's kind of just messy in my opinion.
I've never
Not the
met a
best.
pastry I didn't like, so I can't relate to that. But I was scrolling through your Instagram too. I saw on your way to the bubble. Is the bubble the year that Dallas made it to the
Yes,
finals?
Yeah.
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 So we were there the longest time, but we ended up losing in the finals.
That one hurts.
Yeah.
So you're in the bubble all by yourself, but you were carrying like a monitor. Are you a gamer? Or you...
Yeah. Well, I'm not a good gamer, but I gamed a little bit before I had family, and obviously going to the bubble, we were there for 70 days in the same room. So what else are you gonna do? So a lot of the guys brought their own monitors and their PlayStation or Xbox or computer to have something to do.
What's the go-to game?
Call of Duty.
So your wedding, did you take a group to? I got to pronounce this right. Is it Ibiza or Ibiza? How do I say that to be legit?
What was the second one?
Ibiza or Ibiza?
Ibiza.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Tell me, what was that like, that trip, and how do you play that city correctly in Spain?
I think it's you announce it's the way you did Ibiza.
Yeah, but I mean,
No, well, I'm not gonna go into details. It was obviously just a lot of
the best, right?
a lot of guys, 20 guys on a trip to Spain.
That's a good
So-
spot to go, maybe, if you're with 20 guys.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I figure. Hey, who was on those World Championship teams with you when you won the 2 in a row? Was Hank the goalie, or who was?
Hank was there. Yeah, so we were in Cologne and Paris. Hank was there. We had a really good team. Hedman was there. Strawman. It was me. My brother was actually there too, but he didn't play much. Yeah, I can't remember all the guys now. But then the second year we won in Copenhagen, Brodin and Eriksson Ek was there.
Nice. Would you have anything else, Carts?
So yeah, I just want to talk about your brothers quick because you have what is it, two brothers,
I have 2 brothers.
and you guys all play.
No, my younger brother doesn't play anymore. He played though growing up. He played in the academy in Frölunda, but he's not playing anymore. My older brother is 1.5 years older than me. He was drafted by Atlanta Thrashers, played for Winnipeg a little bit, got traded to Rangers, and then he ended up signing in KHL. And now he's been in Switzerland for 6 years.
So you guys just growing up Sweden, playing in all 4 for Lunda or whatever it was,
Yeah.
the academy and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. That's kind of fun having brothers that play and stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah, it is. My younger one is 5 years younger, so we didn't really play together. But my older brother, we played growing up.
Last one for me. Who's your favorite athlete? Because I feel like Swedes all adore one individual. I'm curious if this is it.
Zlatan?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Why is he a legend?
Just outgoing, outspeaking guy.
Yeah. Is he a big
Not
one, too?
really like the typical Swede, which I think is why you
People
like
like him?
Yeah.
And now he's a soccer player. Soccer a big sport in Sweden?
Yeah, it's probably the biggest one. It's probably bigger than hockey, actually.
Do you know Zlatan? How do you
No.
how do you say his
Yeah,
name?
Zlatan. Yeah,
Zlatan?
Zlatan.
He looks sweet though too. Like doesn't he have like a ponytail? I mean, change the look up, but
Maybe we'll go
Well,
to
every soccer players get different style every year, right?
yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
It's like part of their deal.
maybe we'll go to Ibiza with Zlatan. That would be a.
Well, yeah, if you go with him,
If-
include me in the
Yeah.
trip. Yeah.
We'll see if we can. You can beatbox.
If you get an invite with Zlatan to Ibiza, Klinger he'll be texting you the most.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, welcome to Minnesota. We're happy we've caught some Swedish fish, and we hope you settle in nicely here.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, dude.
Thanks.
So, do you think Klingberg knew like that I just sold out on him and shut that interview down because of Zuccarello? Do you think he could feel it that I was just abandoned him?
I think he could feel it, and I also think that he was happy about it.
Yeah, because he wanted to be done
Yeah.
too.
See ya.
Oh, he needs to go. Fine. I got to find where I'm going to live.
Yeah.
I got to find a Whole Foods
Right.
or whatever. But so Chicago tonight. What do you think, Mr. New guy, Brock Faber's glasses? Do you think he'll make it?
Well, it didn't take him long to show up on Wild's Instagram, and it was a double take. Look back, like, who is that?
Yeah,
He's
who is
got-
he
he's
walking
got the
with? He's
shades.
walking with
I think Hartman was in
Boldy.
the background. Yeah, maybe Steele.
Boldy. I think they know each other from the college club, probably. So yeah, it was Boldy on one side laughing, whatever was being said, and somebody was on the left. I'll look. But what do you think he plays tonight?
Well, I think there's a chance. So Spurgeon, Brodeen back in St. Paul. They're not playing, and Dean Evison had touched on the fact that like Kaprizov and these guys were not going to be playing the back-to-back for sure. And I don't even know that Nyquist was, and plans can change in a real big hurry, but load management was certainly going to factor in at some point. So Brock Faber, 2D back. You got to like his chances. The Wild have 2 extra D in Addison and Goligoski, but I don't think you pull a guy out of college and have him come along for the rides in a game where maybe he could play and he doesn't play. So if I was placing a bet, man, I think Brock Faber makes his NHL debut. I also think they'd want to. So let's say you get into a spot where you're going to need a guy. You want to know, and you want him to have played his first game. I played my first game in the playoffs. Like you, as soon as Zuccarello showed up, I crapped my pants in that game. Like literally, I was nervous as all get out. If you can help settle that down a little bit and give him a regular season game, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, no, I would think he plays. Doer was the other guy in the photo for the 6 people that are dying to find out who the 3 people in the Instagram photo were. But so for people that are not familiar with Mr. Faber's game, I played with him on the Gophers this year, so I got a lot of chances to see him. But he is I would call him a shutdown D, a great skating shutdown D. So I think if the stars were to align, he's in that. I'm not saying he's similar to Jonas Brodin, but that's his. Like if they did a personality test on who you were as a hockey player, I mean, he's the guy you play against the top people. Not right now, he's a rookie, all those things, but he's not a guy that historically has filled the net. He's just a great skating. And nowadays in the league, right, you look at how good and how fast the forwards are and how much the NHL has changed. You really need people that can skate with anyone. It's like Brodin against the Oilers. And, he's a little bit like Brady Shea was back in the day. He may not jump out at you, but he's just trusted. Hopefully he does well in the big league. Who knows? But someone should start the Twitter Brock Faber's glasses and just hope that he's a stud because nobody wears spectacles better. And I hope he does play in Chicago.
Yeah, I do too. I think there's legitimate chance again for younger guys to step up. Rossi was called up. Patan was called up. You've got Brock Faber. And let's just see what happens. And I think the Wild are wise in trying to figure out and give these guys a chance to know exactly what they have. And If you're right, you wouldn't want to sleep on Brock Faber. But if you were to sleep on Brock Faber, it'd maybe be because you're a little bit too tired, because you're not getting quality rest at night. Like, what is it, 30 million Americans? And 25 have no clue that their sleep is awful.
Yeah, I think if I wanted to put sleep apnea to bed, I don't know how Brock Faber got into this ad read. It's a little confusing.
You don't want to sleep on how good he is.
I know. Okay. Okay. But yeah, if I was one of the 30 million with,
Unless you can trust
with
in nerd.
problems, you can with if nerd emoji, restless. I'm kind of crabby. My partner is upset with me. I'm not getting good sleep. I would just dial up the concierge of this whole world. They take it to you. They make it easy for you. It's basically Grubhub for sleep apnea. They will take care of you. Go to mygemsleep.com/wild. It's a local Minnesota company. You're going to have better energy, improved relationships, and better health with mygemsleep.com.
And do it. My mother can't endorse the experience, the products, or the communication with any more strength and conviction. She's stoked. So she's got her machine now. She's sleeping well. Like I said, she's out dancing. It's changed her life. She's happy. Spring is here. Make sure that you've got enough energy to get through it. But speaking of spring, John, it's supposed to be 80 degrees in Minnesota coming up.
Yeah.
And isn't that just like Minnesota, where you turn off the heat and you've got to turn on the AC all at the same time? Well,
It's
if you're
true.
one of those people,
there's no change of the seasons.
And
We
if
just
you
go
don't-
from one to the next.
yeah, you don't trust your AC unit, or you want to make sure it's tuned up because there was piles of snow on it
Leaves.
all winter long, leaves jammed in there, mice sniffing around for a warm place to lay their head. Well, then you're going to want to give Aquarius Home Services a call, because it is the season. You want to be cleaning or breathing fresh quality air in your house. They've got the people that will tune up your AC. If you need a replacement, they'll finance it as low as $55 a month. They treat your home like it's their home. Again, one of my favorite things is they send me a text before my appointment saying they'll be there in 15 minutes. They show up. They put booties on. They truly do treat your house like it's their house. AquariusHomeservices.com.
Hey, so let's go through some really important stuff like we always do. Hartman shaved.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is something that actually I had thought about beforehand. Is this guy's got like he's got like a perfect storm beard. He looks like a longshoreman. Like what's his plan? Like, we're almost in the playoffs. We're a week away. He's got to knock that back, and
So
he did.
You're of that camp.
I think you
it's like
got to
November.
reset.
You got to knock it down October 31st.
I
and
do
then
think
you
so.
grow for
Yeah,
a month.
yeah. Because I think if it's called a playoff beard, you can't start it before the playoffs, and I think Hartsey knows that. He played really well with the clean shave. He's just he's got to be Hartsey in the playoffs, doesn't he?
Well,
I mean, I love that it was against Bennington.
He's full Hartsey right now.
He's just bouncing into guys, picking people's pockets.
Is there any better way to score on Bennington if you're Hartman? So Hartman
Bennington
probably
thought
has
about taking him out on that play too.
Yeah, Hartman probably has 4 goals on Bennington gaffes this year, like bad Bennington plays.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Don't worry about stick with it. You'll be okay."
No, yeah.
And then he picks
Stay
a
in
puck
it.
off
Stay
shorthanded,
in it.
and I don't know how long he's sitting on this intel where he knows how, like, the drop pass, that they're lazy with it, where they pull
Yeah.
it off, and he can jump on it and go. And then it's a 50-50 puck between he and Bennington. And he's scrambling eggs so efficiently in Bennington's head that Bennington pauses for just a second, and that gives Hartman enough time to pick that one up, skate around it, throw in the net for a shorty, and then stick with it to be able to make another play 30 seconds later to score a second shorty on the same penalty against her.
And he played to contact. I mean, he just ran into that guy, and then Steele gets the puck. The thing about a guy like Ryan Hartman, we're about to go into the playoffs, okay? Playoffs are for grown-ups. If you have a child under the age of 12, don't bring them to a playoff game. That's not the Wild officially saying that, but I'm telling you that. Guys like Hartman thrive because in a 7-game series, I mean, people will be cursing Ryan Hartman out on the other team, whether it's a little embellishment to get a drawn penalty, a stick tap on the way to the bench. Seeing him kind of enjoying himself he really has had a nice season. He was injured, but if you look at his body of work when he's been in the lineup, he really had a solid season after a career year the year before.
I think what Hartman's season illustrates is that it's a long season, and you've got to find a way to just stick with it. He's probably the epitome of that. Came in and lost his spot between Zuccarello and Kaprizov.
In like a week, by the way. Like, we're just
They were like minus 10. They couldn't keep the puck out of their own net. They were turning it over, trying to make plays that they shouldn't. It did. It looked forced early on into different role, and I'm going to show everybody, and I'm not saying this is like a decision he made, but show everybody I care. They'll do what I can for the team to help him win. Goes and fights a guy that's 6 inches taller than him, hurts his shoulder, sits out for a while. That wasn't positive. And then slowly comes back from that and
pucks off the chest, pucks off the elbow.
Little better to where now it's
beard is growing.
And he's full Hartman. So it took him 70 games probably to get to full Hartman mode.
Do you think they were like, hey, Hartsey, do you want to stay back with Kirill and Zuki, or do you want to go to Chicago and play a game in Chicago? He's like, there's nobody more excited to play hockey in Chicago than Ryan Hartman. He'll be, I don't think he's sitting that one out.
Well, so
it doesn't matter how far out of it.
He scored a breakaway goal against the game winner.
And won it. He's
against Stalock.
He's a guy to watch tonight.
I saw them both downstairs after post game, and Stalock pulls Hartman aside. Says, "Were you trying to go upstairs?" Because it went underneath his pad.
Oh, he thinks he missed it?
Yeah, he just wanted Hartman to admit it. He's like, "No, I didn't miss it." So I think that he'll be looking to get another one of those here tonight.
He loves Chicago, so he'll be active. I'm trying to think other little notes. So we got the Blackhawks tonight. We got the Jets on the back and back. We'll get a little peanut butter and jelly perhaps tomorrow night with the boys.
Well, that's the last home game of the year too.
Yep.
So that's why I think the Wild are going to get their full lineup tomorrow.
Yeah.
Winnipeg final home game, and try to just really send a message, I don't know, to Winnipeg or to themselves, and that we're ready to go. And then there will be one final game against Nashville on Thursday.
And then the Iowa Wild might play Nashville on Thursday.
I have no clue on that. I do think that there's probably still value in having certain power play units or different things there, and they'll try to get that stuff going. But, I think the full send game will be Winnipeg tomorrow.
That sounds like a fun one to go to. Maybe start at Moscow on the Hill and just have a martini and wander down the street. If we were to play Dallas, one of the things I like about this is, I was like a lot of, I think, Wild fans where the Wild emerged on the scene in 2000, and I always had this North Star shaped hole in my heart, right, where I couldn't quite connect with the Wild the way the North Stars were. They felt a little, their name was sort of weird. It's like the Miami Heat or the Utah Jazz. You couldn't really personify it. You couldn't say, I'm going to a Stars game tonight, or let's go Stars. It was like this, it felt like this kind of invented thing. But these last two seasons, really 2.5 with, 97 coming in, Ecker, Boldy, the Flower, Reeves. It's just been so much fun. Billy Guerin and Dean doing things.
Do you think some of what's helped you heal is the fact that the reverse retro jerseys were launched?
Yes,
too? So
yes, huge part for everyone. Huge thank you, and hopefully they become permanent jerseys. But for sure, that was like putting something in the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
No, it is the North Stars.
We got to open this up, and we can heal.
So I think that's why playing Dallas is kind of intriguing because I believe they've eliminated us from the playoffs a couple times. I seem to have bad memories of Antoine Roussel.
I was on one of those teams.
Yeah, but I think it would be quite therapeutic to put a stake in the heart of the Dallas Stars and start to reclaim our rightful place in hockey history with a Stanley Cup coming to the state.
Do you think Minnesotans are capable of this?
Well, I don't. I mean, Rat was.
Ottinger. You got Jake Ottinger, who would be in goal. #one of us.
Yeah, that'll be in people's heads. Like, well, he's really good, that Ottinger, and he's from Lakeville. he's from Lakeville. I mean, it's like everything in our world is like, it's only like this. We can only see this far
Snow
away
globe.
from our face. Well, he says, Lakeville North or South? I don't remember, but he's a good goalie. Watch out for him. Yeah, it's like a bad movie.
Well, it'll be if we play Dallas, it'll be intriguing. Dean Evison, and this is the last I'll say on this stuff, but it seems like he's set not to make the same mistakes. And Rat might be onto the goaltending situation. He's not going to do the same stuff he did last year just because that experiment didn't work. He's going to change it. And they wanted home ice last year, and they lost in 5 games. So it's not that I think that they're looking at last year and saying, all right, we've got to do something entirely different or opposite. It's just let's make sure that we're as healthy as we can be and we're ready as we can be to play. Dallas, though, if you read the clips out of there, they're full send. They want the top spot in the Central. And I think if you're the Wild, you, in some regards, use that as a pat on the back. Dallas does not want to have to play you right now. So we'll see how it all unfolds. And if it is the matchup, it'll be a team that's going for it fully with everything they have going into the playoffs, and a team that's just mentally prepping themselves to be ready to go fully come the playoffs.
Yeah, and you got the added element of, remember in the Hartman interview where he said that one guy I probably wouldn't put a firecracker in his mailbox is Jamie Benn, because if you start to do heartsy things. So now you know that he's not going to obey that rule. There's not a chance in hell he goes through that series without doing something to Jamie Benn, and then I don't know whatever. Apparently, Jamie Benn turns into the Hulk, so I don't really want to see that.
If you get back to Mojo, I think it was Dallas where Tarps Off became a thing, and they were all eating pizza. I think it was Dallas where it was all those dudes doing shirtless interviews post game. So a lot of good vibes down there right now too.
That's good. Mojo could that be the name of the Boldy?
Yeah,
line?
Mojo.
Yeah, Mojo line.
That's the line.
That's what it's already called.
Yeah.
Where have I been?
Tampa.
I should start watching the broadcast. Did you name it?
No.
Oh, that's pretty good. Well, I just caught up. I was losing a national championship game. It was devastating for my family.
All right. Well, a couple games left.
Stay positive.
And then bonus hockey.
Keep it like Rat. We're here.
Till it's here.